Let us pray. In the spirit of love and compassion, Spirit of life, God of many names, Supreme God, be in our hearts and in our minds as we come together to pray for our party and for this event. We come together as a people of privilege, grateful, dear God, for this blessing. We are hopeful for our future as the borough of Siparia. We ask your blessings upon our leader and all of our party officers. We pray your blessings upon our coordinator and his team. We ask your blessings upon our candidates all and their team. We ask that you would take charge of this meeting. O Divine Master, grant us victory on August 14th. For it is you who set up governments, and our faith is in you. We thank you, and we invite your holy presence in this meeting. Come and have your way. Amen and amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, you may have your seats. Siparia, good evening. The PNM is in this newly minted borough of Siparia, and it is our pleasure to be here. Political leader of the People's National Movement, Dr. the Honorable Keith Christopher Rowley, who is listening to us on the radio as he makes his way here. Siparia, let him hear you. Members of the executive of the People's National Movement, including Mr. Indar Parasram and Ms. Irene Hines, and special advisor to the political leader, the Grand Dame of the PNM, Mrs. Joan Yule Williams, who is no stranger to you here in Siparia. The Honorable Renuka Sagram Singh Suklal, Minister in the Office of the Attorney General. Mr. Kamaluddin Ghani, candidate for Siparia West Faizabad. A man filled with love, Senator the Honorable Kazim Hussain, Minister of Agriculture. Member of Parliament for Lebre, Mr. Stephen McClashy. Members of the Executive of Siparia, Lebre and Environs. Members of Council, of the outgoing Council. Candidates for the upcoming local government elections, and you, the wonderful PNM supporters. A very good PNM evening. We are in Siparia tonight, and I have one message. Kamla Pasad Bisasa, grow up. Grow up. These repeated national meltdowns and tantrums are as pathetic and tiresome as you are. Imagine on yet another occasion, in a disgraceful display of selfishness and own-wayism, you took a document from the PNM, produced by the government, to be debated tomorrow in the sacred House of Parliament. And you stood up in your Monday night forum, your tantrum fest, and you, building on your disgraceful legacy of throwing tantrums, stood up to tear up a good document. How childish, how pathetic. What a big baby in diapers. Immature and sickening. A shame and a disgrace for a leader, a member of Parliament, and a sorrowful former Prime Minister. But tonight, Siparia, tonight, Trinidad and Tobago, you will see none of that insolence here on a PNM platform. The PNM is about nation building. Kamla Pasad Bisasa, SC, which now apparently stands for spoiled child. Tonight, we will not have any of your nonsense. Tonight, our political leader and the PNM will discuss the plans for our country and the imminent revolution that will come with local government reform. And so as we start the program, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce our first speaker. He is grounded, he is resilient, he is a community worker, a youth advocate, and a sportsman. Committed, dedicated, and the PNM's standard bearer for Siparia West, Faizabad. Siparia, would you please welcome your candidate of choice on August the 14th, Mr. Kamaluddin Ghani.
We're coming, we're coming, we're coming, we're coming, we're coming! PNM! 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 PNM!
Pleasant good evening to everyone. May the peace and blessings of Almighty God be upon each and every one of us here today. Political leader of the PNM and Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, Dr. Honorable Keith Christopher Rowley, who is on his way and listening. The Honorable Foster Cummins, Minister of Youth Development and National Services. Senator the Honorable Kazim Hussain, Minister of Agriculture, Land and Fisheries. Member of Parliament for Point Fortin, the Honorable Kennedy Richards. Senator the Honorable Renuka Sagram Singh Suklal, and Minister in the Office of the Attorney General and Ministry of Legal Affairs. Special Advisor to the Honorable Prime Minister and the PNM, Ms. Joan Yule Williams. Elections Officer and Coordinator for the Siparia Borough, Mr. Indar Parasram. The Honorable Stephen McClashy, MP for Labre and Minister of Labour. Party members, fellow candidates, family, friends, supporters, and a member of the media. A warm PNM good evening and welcome to Siparia West Faizabad. I stand before you today filled with overwhelming happiness and a deep sense of gratitude as your PNM candidate for Siparia West Faizabad. You may ask, who is Kamaluddin Ghani? Well, most people and friends in the community know me as Khalid. I was born and raised in Faizabad and also operate my business in this community. So I want the best representation for my district. My family's business has been in existence for over 40 years, and I have been actively involved in sport, community initiatives, and most importantly, my mosque duties. So when it comes to building progressive community and transforming lives, I am the man for the job. When the call came for me to serve you, I did not hesitate, because to serve our people and service our people and our country has been fundamental of my existence. It would be remiss of me if I did not express my heartfelt thanks to all of you who have not only supported my family's business throughout the years, but have also played an instrumental role in shaping me into the person that I am today. I owe you an immense debt of respect, and I am ready and eager to serve you. One aspect of my passion lies in addressing the social issues that affect our community head-on. I am driven by profound desire to work with our youth to build a future that is secure and filled with possibilities. It is true that our community faces challenges and struggles, but I firmly believe that if you choose me as your voice, your representative, and advocate, together we can make this place a cornerstone of true local governance. I am fully aware that I cannot do this alone. The journey to the road of local government election is not a solitary one. It is a collective effort that places your needs at the forefront. I am committed to not just listening to your concerns, but actively working towards addressing them and finding solutions that benefit us all. During my walkabouts and campaigning, I have heard your cries and pleas for help that seem to have fallen on deaf ears. I empathize with you, and I want you to know that I am not, and I repeat, that I am not here to make empty promises. Instead, I pledge to champion your causes in the most realistic and genuine manner. Together, we will face challenges, but with unity and determination, we will overcome them. Ladies and gentlemen, you would have seen our beloved Prime Minister in the media highlighting the numerous challenges that plague our borough corporations, hindering cooperation and project implementation. These challenges have affected the PNM's government ability to deliver in local government content, and this is why government reform is necessary. This is precisely why now is the opportune moment to vote for the PNM in Siparia West and your candidates in all electoral districts. By electing the PNM, we can implement the much-needed local government reform that will address these issues and usher in new and fresh management and arrangements. So if you desire to eliminate the red tape and bureaucracy that hamper the effectiveness of local government bodies, vote for the PNM. If you want to provide guaranteed local opportunities for our small and medium contractors to develop and thrive, choose the PNM. If you believe in empowering municipal councils to manage their affairs effectively, vote for the PNM. If you want our community members to access apprenticeships through skill-based platforms, vote for the PNM. You see, my friends, local government reform is simply about improving management and giving you, the citizens, greater control over your affairs. Our mission is to enhance the quality of life in our country through improved local government services. And a crucial aspect of that is the revenue stream that local government will have. The new system will focus these pillars of reform: security and funding, executive authority, new responsibilities, local contractors, more effective municipal policing, developmental control, infrastructure works, disaster management, involvement of civil society, and regional development. I eagerly look forward, along with my fellow PNM candidates, to bringing home victory for you, the people, as we reclaim our rightful place in the new Siparia Borough Corporation. The PNM has a long-standing history of making positive changes with you, the people at heart. And on August 14th, you will denounce and say no to poor local governance and say a resounding yes to the PNM. Say yes to Kamaluddin Ghani, yes to the people of Siparia West Faizabad, and yes to a PNM-led borough council. Together we will champion good and responsible governance, led by the Honorable Keith Christopher Rowley and the PNM. Together we will embrace local government reform. As I stand before you today, I implore each and every one of you to cast your gaze towards the future. Let us envision the bright horizons awaiting our children, the prosperity that our new borough can embrace, and the profound impact we can make as we tread the path of our beloved home. The glory of Siparia West Faizabad beckons us, and it is time to reclaim it for the PNM. We have accomplished remarkable feats in the past, and rest assured, we possess the unwavering determination to achieve greatness once more. No obstacle shall prove insurmountable in our unwavering pursuit. As the day of August 14th fast approaches, Let us unite our voices, harmonizing as one to resoundingly proclaim, great is the PNM, great is the PNM, great is the PNM, and together we shall prevail. Thank you very much.
What an excellent message from your candidate for Siparia West. Let's hear it one more time for Mr. Kamaluddin Ghani, who has clearly identified for you why you must choose the PNM. And there's something that he said that we must carry with us for the next 3.5 weeks and beyond. Cast your gaze towards the future, ladies and gentlemen. And that is what local government reform is all about. And as we talk about casting your gaze to the future, Brighton, Vestany, your future looking real bright. Would you please welcome the PNM's standard bearer for Brighton, Vestany, Mr. Gillan Lewis.
It's only Dr. Rowley, the right choice for TNT. Is the choice, PNM is the voice. On election day, is the right choice at the right time.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Our political leader and Prime Minister, the Honorable Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley, the Honorable Foster Cummins, Member of Parliament for Lohokota and Talboro, and Minister of Youth Development and National Services, the Honorable Member of Parliament for Loughborough Constituency, the Honorable Stephen McClatchy, Senator, the Honorable Kazim Hussain, Minister of Agriculture and Fishery, Senator Renuka Sangramsingh, the Coordinator, Ms. Indar Parishman, my fellow candidates, PNM family, and the Burgesses for the best electoral district of Trinidad and Tobago, Brighton, Vestany. Good evening. Today we stand at the cups of greatness. Today we stand in awe as history is being written. I stand with my fellow candidates as we are ready to be elected into the newly council of the Siparia Borough. I also stand here in amazement, giving this speech, because never in my wildest dreams did I ever think that I would share this platform with these esteemed and distinguished guests and my PNM family. You see, I grew up in a community that has faced much challenges. I grew up in a community that has few positive role models. I grew up in Kobotong, Patrick Street, Loughborough, or some may refer to as Helltong. But thanks to the policies of the People's National Movement through the GATE program, I was able to attend the University of the West Indies, and achieve a Bachelor of Science degree in biochemistry and biology with honors. I must repeat, this is what Patrick Street can produce, and this is what Kobotong can produce, and this is what the People's National Movement has produced. Ten years ago, at the age of 16, I made the decision to join this political institution as a member of the PNM Youth League, a decision I have not regretted. It is this party that has afforded young people the opportunity to lead, the opportunity for upward mobility, and the opportunity to serve our community, our country, and our political party. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the People's National Movement. There is none other like us. As we make your decision on August the 14th, you must remember it is this party that has afforded the Siparia Regional Corporation its borough, elevating us in this local government arena. And after years of public conversation and political debate, it is this party that has given us local government reform. This is the People's National Movement. There is none other like us. My PNM family, it is imperative that you understand what the PNM has done through this reform. Finally, local government bodies has autonomy similar to that of the THA. Local government reforms mean more resources to ensure that we can adequately service our purchases. Reforms gives us the authority to implement an executive council within the Siparia borough. Local government reforms means that we can challenge and address the challenges of government schools and government-assisted schools. It is important as we make our decision on August the 14th, we understand that the party that has led us into this position, so whether you are in Otahiti or Silak, you have the dynamic Curtis Karabai for improved youthful representation. Or if you are in Siparia, West Faizabad, you have the committed, the intelligent representation of Mr. Ghani. And if you are in Irene, you can find the queen of the candidate of Siparia, the experienced Miss Arlene Ramdio. Make note of my fellow candidates and bestow on them your support on August the 14th. Ladies and gentlemen, not forgetting that if you are in Brighton, Bethany, you sung your vote profoundly for none other than Jillian Rashiba Lewis for the People's National Movement. And on the morning of August the 15th, after the election, we shall sing in one accord and we shall shout, "Great is the PNM, great is the PNM, great is the PNM," and we shall and always prevail. Thank you.
What a fine young man. What an excellent example for young people. Siparia, that is your future councillor for Brighton, Bethany, sitting on a PNM-led Siparia Borough Corporation. Well done, young Jillian Lewis. We look forward to your term of service. Talk about fire. And as we talk about fire, ladies and gentlemen, she's a good friend of mine, and I like to call her Scorpion Pepper. She's an attorney at law by profession and a firebrand in the Senate, ladies and gentlemen. She currently serves as a minister in the Office of the Attorney General and Legal Affairs. Siparia, make some noise and welcome Senator the Honorable Renuka Sagram Singh Suklal.
Siparia, sound the alarm. I could feel the fire on this platform. Listen, I am not lying to tell you, if nobody who's sitting here tonight cannot say they're not proud. They're not proud to be a PNM. And you see what we just saw on this stage is what the People's National Movement has on offer for this country. Young man, I salute you for what you just brought to this platform. And that is why Trinidad and Tobago, we are the People's National Movement. Brothers and sisters, allow me, I know the protocols have been established, but allow me, of course, to recognize our Honorable Prime Minister who is on his way. Of course, all the distinguished members of our head table, the Grand Dame of the PNM, Mama Joan as I call her, Mr. Indar Parasram. Clearly, Mr. Parasram, you're mashing up the place down in Siparia, so you deserve a round of applause. Of course, all those who are present here tonight and those who are paying attention, watching us via the airways. You know, let me share a very brief personal story with you. I must say Siparia is very, very close to my heart because you may not know, but my Nana, which is my mother's father, his entire generation is from this beautiful, newly minted borough. And as a matter of fact, my Nana was a practicing pundit in Faizabad, and nearly our entire generation that generation still lives in Mendez village in Siparia. So of course, Siparia is very, very close to my heart. It's the first time I'm here in this capacity, of course, but it gives me great pleasure to stand on this platform and bring greetings to you all. You know, brothers and sisters, in deciding when you have to actually deliver a message, it's very different to me as opposed to chairing a meeting, because it's where you now have to focus on what is the messaging and what is the message that you want to leave to the people who are gathered here tonight. And there are three general areas, because I know Boss Lady across there will give them a note if I run out of time. But there are three basic messages that I want, or areas of focus that I want to pay attention to tonight. The first one I want to briefly look at, of course, is the UNC's campaign strategy during the course of this election. That's one. Two, I want to look at the impact of local government reform on the young people of Trinidad and Tobago, especially since two of our candidates here tonight focused, very young, very, very young candidates. They focus on what, in their presentation, on what local government reform will mean to the youth. And finally, and that's where we'll bring some fire to this platform, why it is necessary for all of us to go out on August 14th and support the People's National Movement. Now, brothers and sisters, the first thing that I said I want to focus on is the UNC's campaign. And that is important. The narrative that the UNC is pushing is critical for us to understand, because all we have heard about throughout the length and breadth of the UNC's campaign in a local government election is about crime and criminality. And the question is crime a serious issue? My answer to that is yes. But my question to the UNC, who of course is looking at us tonight, show me one solution you have offered to this country, or you have offered to the government, how to deal with crime and criminality in this country during your election campaign. Brothers and sisters, open your eyes and pay attention. We big and we all have sense. If you look at the length and breadth of what the UNC has been promoting, Other than focusing on all the criminal activities that has been happening, and of course the Honorable Prime Minister a few days ago spoke about on a national platform about what their focus is going to be. They're going to use social media, they're going to show graphics, they're going to come at us and remind us about crime and criminality. But tell me, apart from identifying the problem, what solution have you brought to us as the right sober thinking? And notice I say sober because a lot of them, we know they're not sober, right? What is the messaging? What is the solution you have brought? And my answer to that is only two I could have found. One was stand your ground legislation, which I saw the Prime Minister dealt with today in an interview. And the other one I heard is that the opposition leader, the political leader of the UNC stated that she's going to support gated communities. Now, mind you, when we had COVID, remember their solution to COVID was what? Build a dome around Trinidad. So I'm not sure if the solution to crime is build dome around every region or every community. Brothers and sisters, that is what the UNC has on offer for crime and criminality. The Prime Minister would have gone through today, I heard him in his interview, about why we are not in a position to support stand your ground legislation. And of course, on top of that, they are fighting for stand your ground in a local government election. Which councillor have the power to bring stand your ground legislation, even if, God forbid, the UNC wins an election, a local government election? Which councillor has the power to bring stand your ground legislation? Absolutely none. To bring stand your ground legislation, you know who you will rely upon? The government of the day to bring forward that legislation, brothers and sisters. So when they come and they talk stand your ground, stand your ground, stand your ground, stand your ground, what? Ms. Prasad Bisesa, you stand your ground and understand that the PNM controls the majority in the parliament. And as long as we are here, we will not support stand your ground unless the evidence shows otherwise. Brothers and sisters, that is what the UNC has on offer. The second thing, and that's why my contribution tonight is focused on issues. The second thing that the UNC has on offer for protecting our communities through a local government election is, of course, what I mentioned before. They will allow gated communities. They will support gated communities. In doing that and in presenting to you, so they talk about gated communities. Have you seen anywhere the opposition speak to who will pay for these gated, because a gated community is not just BRAPs. You put a gate in front of every community and you lock it down. There is a mathematics, there is policy that goes behind gated communities. And those of you who have sat in council know that you can't just gate community like you're crazy. There's a process that you have to go through. Has the UNC put on offer to this country any policy, any explanation? If that's the big, because that's the big thing, right? Gate the communities. Have you heard from any member of the UNC any solution as to who's going to pay for these gated communities? Who will guard the gates? Because that's another real issue. What about the service of regional corporations in these communities? If you lock down these communities and you gate them in, is it that you are saying that you're now removing these communities from the protection and the ambit of local government and regional corporations? Because you're locking them down. Is it that you're removing it from the vesting order that gives corporations the power to go into communities and clean their drains and service their roads and all of that? Tell us, Ms. Bisesa, you have all the lawyers in the world, all of them bright. They claim to be bright. But up until this point, I have heard them speak about gating communities. I've heard them speak about standing your ground. But there is no substance to their argument. And that is why I say to you, Trinidad and Tobago, do not be fooled in the coming days ahead. They will flood your social media with images, graphic images of crime and criminality in this country. But I'm asking especially young people in this country, The young people and the new voters and the undecided voters of this country do not fall for that gimmick put forward by the United National Congress. Say to them, if you come with a problem, then show me the solution. And up until today, I am yet to see, coming out from a UNC platform, any solution to crime. You know what is the UNC record, brothers and sisters? And sitting in the office of the Attorney General and Ministry of Legal Affairs, this is the benefit we have, of course, going through the Hansards and all that. You want to know what the UNC has done for crime in this country? Let me tell you what, I looked at the Hansard dated the 6th of July 2022 from the Senate. That is when we brought the bail amendment, the extension of the duration bail amendment bill. We had 6 all senators, all opposition senators voted against that legislation. Is that an opposition that cares about crime and criminality in this country? If we look at the bail amendment bill number 2, 2019, every single, this is taken from the Hansard record, the 19th of November 2019, every single opposition senator voted against that bail amendment. Trinidad and Tobago, they come to us and they talk about protecting and then they want to, they are worried about crime. The Hansard, the records reflect, dated the 1st of July 2016. This is in the miscellaneous provision anti-gang bill, which was the government's attempt to break the back on gangs that exist in Trinidad and Tobago so that we could protect our young boys. We could get them off the streets and get them away from gangs and criminal elements in their community. You know what is the UNC's, you know what is the UNC record? The UNC record is that there was a division, of course, and we had 22, which was the government bench, voting. This is in the House of Representatives voting for. And we had 18 members of the UNC against that legislation. That is a legislation, if you go into the crux of it, and that's why I say tonight, it's not just about fire, it's about facts. And it's about the young people in this country. I saw a lot of young people supporting. That is why you have to go out there, wear your red t-shirt and spread the PNM message. And let the UNC know, don't come wrong me with all talk. Because your record in the parliament reflects that you have never supported, you have never given support for any piece of legislation that this government has piloted that truly could have, had we passed those pieces of legislation, that it could have brought substantive change to our country. And I could go on, brothers and sisters. I could go on to the Interception of Communication Act. Again, in the Senate, you have the 6 of them voting against. Same thing in the House of Representatives. You have the 12 of they're voting against it again in the House of Representatives. So, brothers and sisters, that was one of the first issues that very briefly I wanted us to focus on, which is the issue of crime. Because that is the narrative that the UNC have been putting forward. Brothers and sisters, as we look to local government reform, we have many speakers who will get in again into what local government reform will bring to this country. I want to remind you again, coming from the office which I come from, there are parts and elements of the miscellaneous provision bill. When we brought the legislation to reform local government, there is a section 35I. There is section 35, there is also section 35H. There are different sections in that legislation that speaks to the role that local government is going to play in the lives of the young people of Trinidad and Tobago. And I ask the young people of Trinidad and Tobago, those especially who will be voting for the first time, now more than ever, we need you all to come out there and we need you to vote. We need you to bring your friends out to vote. And yes, I know Madam Chairlady has shown me that my time is about to end. The last thing that I want to end with is, of course, brothers and sisters, why must we vote? The People's National Movement. The people of Trinidad and Tobago. We are who? We are the sure watching me and waiting tomorrow. Tick tock goes the clock. Tick tock on August 14, that clock will stop. And when that happens, we need to ensure that the PNM brothers and sisters, that the PNM comes out and on the top. So I say to you, work and support our 141 warriors non-stop. Give them a round of applause. They will be coming to you in every creed and every race. Brothers and sisters of Trinidad and Tobago, the PNM is better than all the rest. Trinidad and Tobago, because we at the PNM are certainly the best. And I say to you, go out in your numbers and vote for us. So on the night of August 14, we shall all come together and sing in one united voice. Great is the PNM, great is the PNM, great is the PNM, and we shall prevail.
But Siparia, all he didn't tell me is only fire down here tonight. What is this? Let's hear it for our Minister, Senator the Honorable Renuka Sagram Singh Suklal, telling you, the people of Siparia, and you, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, why it is so important for you to vote for us. And so, ladies and gentlemen, be prepared. Prepare now to meet your 10 candidates for the Penal Debe Regional Corporation. I invite to the microphone the coordinator for the Penal Debe Regional Corporation, Mr. Viyash Nandlal. Please welcome Mr. Nandlal.
Siparia, how you doing? Always love the energy here in Siparia. Penal Debe, are you in the house? Penal Debe is here today, ladies and gentlemen, here tonight. In Penal Debe, we have 10 excellent standard bearers for the People's National Movement, bringing our wave of red, sweeping across the electoral districts and sweeping across the region of Penal Debe. More importantly, they are bringing the message of local government reform to Penal Debe. Penal Debe, are you ready for reform? Introducing our dynamic candidates for the regional district of Penal Debe, La Fortune Debe North, Judy Sukdeo. For Penal, Shannon Rupnarain. For Queenam Mondiablo, Trisha Harewood. For Roshan Barakpur East, Susan Joseph. For La Romaine, the man who is going to bring it home in La Romaine, Jeffrey Ranghill. Debe East, L'Esperance Union Hall, Emmanuel Gopal.
She could run this country only on alcohol. Flam here, flam she take them flying in helicopter.
For Palmace Hermitage, we have Miss Nyla Stephen.
We coming. Wonder, go on the anointed God. We coming to bust.
For Barakpur West, Shelby Rampasad.
Big regret. We coming. PNM.
For Debe South, Leon Small.
We coming. PNM.
And bringing up the end, the man who given them trouble in Bronte, Sunil Suchit.
We coming. PNM.
Ladies and gentlemen, it up for your 10 standard bearers in Penal Debe. Thank you, everyone. Great is the PNM, and in Penal Debe, we too shall prevail.
And ladies and gentlemen, make sure that all that noise translates into thousands and thousands of votes for your Penal Debe candidates. Let's hear it one more time for your 10 Penal Debe candidates. Our next speaker, ladies and gentlemen, is no stranger to the system of local governments. Having served for almost 10 years as the councillor for the electoral district of Hollywood, in the borough of Point Fortin. He went on to serve as the mayor of the borough of Point Fortin and currently serves as the member of parliament for the constituency of Point Fortin. Not only is he a politician, he is a pilot, but most importantly, he is a PNM. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome the Honorable Kennedy Richards.
PNM family, good night. The borough of Siparia, good night. Thank you very much, Master of Ceremonies. Allow me to recognize, in his absence and on his way, our political leader and Prime Minister, Dr. the Honorable Keith Christopher Rowley, all officers of the movement, members of the head table, party executives, my MP, fellow MP, Minister Stephen McClatchy, MP for Labre, the executive councils of Labre, Faizabad, and Siparia, supporters, and most importantly, this afternoon, our 10 winning candidates.
He is here, Siparia, the man we have been waiting for, the man to turn local government into reality, the Member of Parliament for Diego Martin West, the political leader of the People's National Movement, the Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. Siparia, I want to hear your applause. He is coming, ladies and gentlemen. Here he is.
And we welcome our Prime Minister to the borough of Siparia. He's mine too. So let me introduce myself once more. My name is Kennedy Richards, Member of Parliament for Point Fortin. As the Master of Ceremonies would have said, I served 4 terms in local government. Started off in 2010 as a 23-year-old. Then again in 2016, I became the deputy mayor of Point Fortin in 2016, and in 2019, I had a short stint of about a year as the mayor of the borough. And that was from 2010 to 2020. I also hold a position as a pilot with Caribbean Airlines, and as I go into my short excerpt, my sister before brought a little bit of fire, so I'll bring a little bit of calm this afternoon and really go into what local government means to the average person. What is local government? Some people may ask. Local government is basically type of government that is basically run by an elected council. And how does local government affect you? Local government is literally responsible for your minor roads, your road repairs, and in some of the restrictions, especially like in Point Fortin, local government is 95% responsible for the road network. Local government is also responsible for garbage collection, cleaning of drains, development of drains, water courses, maintaining playing fields, developing playing fields, sporting facilities, approving housing plans, and even cemeteries and crematoriums. Now, for the average man, this may seem like nothing, but these are very important parts of our daily life and our daily being. The community infrastructure and local economic development. So based on this list, local government affects our everyday life. And as a people, as we strive for betterment and betterment daily, we also have to strive for a better local government. Some of the issues in which our burgesses, and you in Siparia would know our burgesses, have highlighted would be the lack of infrastructural development. We have unkempt playing fields. We have no recreation grounds or unkempt recreation grounds. Lights on those grounds not working properly. And we have a litany of woes that we could go on and on and on and on and about. I know that every single person here has been affected by some way or the other with respect to local government. The ease of doing business with the various corporations, that is a challenge. Local labor, everybody seeking employment, especially with the corporation. Local contractors not being able to participate or partake with local contracts and projects. We have employment within various municipalities, drains needed cleaning, a litany of problems. And the present system is not one that is built to treat with those issues. And it is focused more on what cannot be done instead of getting things done. And as MP, I would have held various meetings throughout Point Fortin, team the Let's Talk Point Fortin, where we go into communities and we engage with the residents and we try to figure out what are their various issues and how are we going to treat with those issues. At every meeting, I had the members of council present. You see, it is very important to meet and treat with your burgesses, because those are the people who are actually working for. Right? And if you have a boss, the people are your boss, you need to treat with their issues with sincerely and fervently. And at every meeting, the members of council would have to answer how they go about doing their job and fulfilling the requests of the burgesses. But at this specific meeting, one of the councillors coined a phrase, and he coined it properly. And he called it the 4 M's. And those 4 M's are manpower, machinery, material, and the last one, being the biggest one to me, is money. And with any of those M's missing, the entire system falls down, and we are unable to treat with the smallest of problems. And I heard that, and I know that the Prime Minister would have spoke religiously about this over the last year or two with regards to the reform, but we're getting there. Even the smallest jobs cannot be done. So the first M being manpower. One of the challenges you have in local government is that as a council, you're not in charge of the manpower. That is an administrative function. And you all may know that some guys come to work at 7, and by 7:15, everybody disappear. Anybody know about that? Right. And by 7:15, so that's one of the M's. Next problem we have is machinery. So a corporation or a region, or a borough corporation or a regional corporation will have a lot of equipment, trucks, backhoes, some even have excavators, low boys, skid steers. But when is it time to activate, to get a job done? The belt bursts. There's no gas. It's a litany of excuses that you will have that will render the machinery unable to function. That's another M. The other M is material. So even if you have the manpower available and the machinery working, sometimes you have no material. And the last one that puts everything together is the money. Without money, you don't have manpower, you don't have machinery, and you don't have material. So I'm coming home with this program. Without this, nothing cannot be solved. But local government is necessary for the delivery of goods and services. And we, the PNM, under our visionary leader, Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley, has proposed what? Has proposed reform. And this reform will treat with all of these issues that local government presently has. In addition, you would have full-time councillors who would be able to double down and focus on the issues and development of their various electoral districts. And I know sometimes in councils, the council is 10 and 11 and 12, but when it's council meeting, they can't even get a quorum. These are the things that we're trying to treat with when it comes to local government reform. As a pilot, we have something called a flight plan. So if you're going between Trinidad and Tobago, you have a computer, you input the flight plan, you fly the route. But in politics, that plan is called a development plan. And in order to develop as a regional corporation, you guys in Siparia is now a borough corporation, and for the Point Fortin Borough Corporation as well. The only way now is local government reform. What is the only way? We saying it like we know it. What is the only way? It's local government reform. I have served 10 years in local government at every level in the Point Fortin Borough Corporation. And I thank God that I had a very good relationship with the entire administration. Because if you don't have a good relationship with the administration, in this council, crap will smoke your pipe. You will get nothing done, and the same people who vote for you will turn their back against you. But what we are saying in the PNM is that with local government reform, we are going to resource the councils, right? So these 4 M's, they're going to resource the council, so the 4th M that I have as money will be the 1st M. So you would have money. And your manpower, you would also be in charge of your manpower. Because right now the councils cannot hire, cannot fire. That is an administrative responsibility. And a lot of people say that they go to the councillor or go to the mayor, they can't get work. The mayor and councillor can't give you work. That is the reality that we face right now. Right? I was a mayor. I couldn't get nobody out. And what we are saying now, with local government reform, things need to be different. And if you look at the Tobago model, and if you read the reform, it gives you an opportunity not just to hire, not just to fire, but for places like Point Fortin, who have been established since I get my paper. And I get my paper. For places like Point Fortin, who have been established since 1980, it would mean that we are functioning on a system where we had a population in 1980. And 30 or 40 years on, 43 now, 43 years on, and you have that population may have doubled or tripled or quadrupled in size. We do not have the necessary manpower. We do not have the necessary equipment to treat with all the needs that face the people within the municipality. So all these are things that local government reform is going to treat with. And it's not slight that our Prime Minister would have brought local government reform. And I had to go pretty fast here. As MP for Point Fortin, I have studied the issues, and while the majority of issues are local government issues, we have a Ministry of Youth Development and National Service who have embedded their organs within Point Fortin, and presently we have ongoing the Chatham Youth Camp is refurbishing. Also, we have the Youth Agricultural Homestead Program. The first cohort of 200 people will be right there in Chatham in the southwestern peninsula. And we have a lot of other infrastructural work that is actually taking place. And what that is going to do is that is going to fit very nicely into the whole ambit of local government reform. And with the development at the central level and the proposed development at the local level with local government reform, we would see development within these municipalities happen at a much faster rate. So I say that to say this. 10 candidates were just presented. And 2 of those 10 candidates are part of the constituency of Point Fortin. So if you're in Cedars, I want you to come out and give a 1,000 and more support to Mr. Anthony Von Ganes. And in Erin, we have the hard-working and effervescent Arlene Ramdio. I want to make sure and give her that support. And in the library end, the young man, Jillan Francis, has been given good measure for what PNM is about. And on August the 14th, make sure that we come out early. Siparia borough, PNM, ensure that you are a borough. Let's ensure that this time we control this borough. So on the 14th, who we voting for? Who we voting for? Who we voting for? And on the evening of the 14th, after the votes are counted and the dust is settled, we'll all be able to say, and we have prevailed. And we have prevailed. Thank you.
My friends, you know we are a very disciplined party. My brother Kennedy asked me to let him know when he has 2 more minutes. That's all I was doing. But let's hear it for Kennedy Richards for giving us a comprehensive understanding of the working of local government and the absolute need for reform so that those 4 M's can be mobilized. Siparia, the borough of Siparia, Are you ready to meet your candidates? To present your candidates here tonight, it is my pleasure to welcome to the podium the Elections Officer of the People's National Movement, the Master Strategizer himself, Mr. Indar Parasram.
Sleeping time. Sleeping time.
Siparia, how we feeling tonight? Siparia, how we feeling tonight? Well, we must feel so on August 14th when we take on for the first time the Siparia Borough Corporation. It's an honor for me to present your 9 future councillors for this new borough. For Advocate San Francisco North, Mr. Richard Gooding.
Somebody say you're gonna like the man, you have a touch of Eric William, huh? We ain't making no dotage mistakes.
Brighton Bethany, Mr. Jalan Lewis.
When I say okay, you know what I mean. Get all your broom, we sweeping this country clean.
CJS, Mr. Anthony Von Ganes.
Great is the PNM, it shall prevail.
Erin, Miss Arlene Randall.
Sweeping time.
Mondesi, Mr. Kennedy Polido.
One nation is one people today, a dynamic diversity. A party strong because all along we celebrate our plurality.
Authority Rosila, Young, Vibrant, Cortes Carabai.
That's why all along every place in town is Lucas leading the dance. We're talking about the ultra-modern social infrastructure.
Paleseco, Mr. Anton George.
National agenda. We ain't making no dotage mistake.
The bomb for Siparia. Siparia East, San Francisco South, Mr. Vijay Bochun.
Bring all your broom and sweeping this country clean. We can't fail.
And bring it up for Siparia West Faizabad, Mr. Kamaluddin Ghani.
It shall prevail.
Ladies and gentlemen, your 9 future councillors for the Siparia Borough Corporation. Let's give it up.
Sweeping time. Get your broom now. Election time is here. We'll be sweeping everywhere. Election time is here. We'll be sweeping everywhere. Election time is here. We'll be sweeping everywhere. Election time is here. We'll be sweeping everywhere.
Now, Thick Village, based on your overwhelming response here tonight, we expect 9 PNM councillors, 4 PNM aldermen, and 1 spanking new PNM mayor in the borough of Siparia. And ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker is the man of love in the People's National Movement. He is one of those who toiled in the vineyard to make this local government reform real. He has served as a councillor in the San Fernando City Corporation. He went on to become the mayor of the San Fernando City Corporation. He served as the Minister of Rural Development and Local Government, and he currently serves as the Minister of Agriculture, Land and Fisheries. Siparia, would you please welcome Senator the Honorable Haji Kazim Hussain.
We love you so, we take good care of you. Only the PNM understands. We love you so, we take good care of you. Only the PNM has a plan. In service to the people, stable and strong. One leader, one party. You
care of you. Let me hear you. We love you so.
We take care of you. PNM understands. We love you so. We take care of you. Only the PNM understands.
Only in the PNM.
We love you so. We take care of you. Only the
You love the PNM? I'm not hearing you. You love the PNM? You love the political leader? And I love you. Thank you very much, Madam Chairperson, Senator the Honorable Laura Lizama Leasing, Dr. the Honorable Keith Rowley, political leader of the People's National Movement and Member of Parliament for Diego Martin West, and the Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. Give him a Siparia welcome. My friend and colleague, the Honorable Foster Cummins, General Secretary of the People's National Movement, Member of Parliament for La Hoqueta Talparo, and Minister of Youth Development and National Service. Well, the firebrand this evening and every night is the Honorable Renuka Sagram Singh Suklal. You agree with me? Minister in the Office of the Attorney General and Ministry of Legal Affairs. My friend from Point 14. We were both mayors together. Mr. Kennedy Richards, Member of Parliament for Point 14. And you could give him a round of applause. I remember when I was in local government, Kennedy would call me every day. He always have a problem. He always on something for the people of Point 14. And I want to hear it for these two young gentlemen, Mr. Kamaluddin Ghani and Mr. Jelon Lewis. They are our future. I started off just like you all, and you all have very far to reach under this Prime Minister who advocates for youth in this country. I want to recognize my colleague, the Member of Parliament for Labrie and the Minister of Labour, and give him a special round of applause. Stephen McClashley. He's very quiet, but he's very assertive. I want to recognize Ms. Jo Newell Williams, the advisor to the political leader. Elections Officer and Coordinator, Mr. Indar Parasram. The Executive of the Siparia and Penal Debe constituency. And our hard-working Operations Officer, Ms. Irene Hines. You wonderful people of the borough of Siparia. Good evening to my PNM family. Good evening. As a former Minister of Rural Development and Local Government, and now the Minister of Agriculture, Land and Fisheries, I have been through the length and breadth of this country, and Siparia is no stranger to me. But on this occasion, it will be the first time that I am officially here to congratulate the people of Siparia on attaining borough status since the passage of the bill in Parliament. It is indeed great to be here to celebrate with you all today. It is no secret that I have always been passionate about local government, and it will always be close to my heart. The focus of this government, under the leadership of our political leader, Dr. Keith Rowley, has always been putting people first. And this is what we did when the motion from the Council of Siparia Corporation was received in 2019, requesting that the government has taken steps to declare this municipality as a borough. It was during my term as the first servant in the Ministry of Rural Development and Local Government that the Siparia Corporation moved this very motion, which was unanimously approved by all members of council. And let me repeat it. It was moved by all members of the council. I recall it was only yesterday at their statutory meeting, which I was there personally in January 2019, where based on significant commercial, social, cultural and administrative developments within the region over the years, they called on the government to declare the municipality a borough, and we answered this call, which resulted in the elevation of status today. Madam Chairman, permit me to recognize, because this is history, I want to recognize Mr. Christopher Insonos, and I would like him to stand, please. And remain standing. Gerard Debisset. Alston Kado. Maurice Alexander. Christine Neptune. Arlene Ramdev. Now, ladies and gentlemen, Christopher Insonos moved the motion and Gerald Debisset seconded the motion for we to be standing here today in the borough of Siparia. And all the other members of the corporation, which were UNC members, they didn't go against it. So we are here celebrating, and we are here to fulfill the needs of the people in this new borough. For you, the people of Siparia, who were born and raised in this municipality, you must be filled with pride. Now you can boast of residing in a borough with the second most number of businesses in the southern region. This title will bring greater recognition to Siparia and will allow greater opportunities for employment for your children and grandchildren, public-private partnerships, international collaborations, and so much more. Local government was a promise we, the People's National Movement, made when we took office in 2015. One deeply rooted in the acute vision of our leader, the Honorable Prime Minister, Dr. Keith Rowley, who was laser-focused on delivering a modern transformation local government system. A system with greater autonomy and accountability, improved governance and administrative structures, secure funding, more effective and efficient delivery of goods and services, balanced and sustainable local economic development, robust monitoring and evaluation to ensure value for money and greater citizenry and civil society participation. What was envisaged was a system capable of bringing government and governance closer to the people by adopting a people-centered approach and putting people first. This is what this election is all about, and this is why our campaign has been strategically coordinated to identify you can expect with the right candidates, and in Siparia and Penal Debe, we have the right candidates to vote for on August 14. Ladies and gentlemen, service to mankind is service to God. And this is what the 141 candidates who have volunteered themselves to serve mankind. It's not about being bigger and better than anybody else. It's a servant. You've been a servant. I have been a servant all my life. I have been working the administrative arm in the corporation. I have been a councillor for 9 years, a mayor for 3 years, a minister of local government for 6 years, and now in agriculture for a year and a couple of months. and I have served for over 40 years in local government. I'm very passionate. I love people. I love local government. We have no corporation in this country could say I have never interacted with all the councillors, all the mayors and chairmen. Not so, Incidents? I went around the whole country and met with everybody. I would not pass a CPEP worker straight on the road. You know that. I will stop and talk to you because you all are the backbone of this party and you are the hard-working people of this party. I can speak firsthand why we need local government reform. Because of my experience, I have been on the ground, I have been all over, I worked in all different departments in the San Fernando Corporation, and there's too much red tape and bureaucracy. I served as a shop steward in Owen Hines Union, the Contractors and General Workers Trade Union. I might not look very aggressive, but when I have to get on like that, I will make noise. And I want to share this with you. Because of the same local government reform, we couldn't get funding. And my father was the mayor of San Fernando. And I was a shop steward for the checkers in the San Fernando City Corporation under the Contractors and General Workers Trade Union. And we planned a protest. And I had a placard in my hand in front City Hall in San Fernando saying the mayor must go. The mayor was my father. No, and I was serious. He had to go because when you're in the union, you have to stand by what you say. No, I couldn't go home the night. And there's no laughing matter, it's serious. I had to go up the back door when my mother opened the back door for me to go in my bedroom. And I hid from my father for days. But that is what we have to go through. In local government, you have to beg for what you want. It shouldn't be so. And that is why Dr. Rowley understands what we need at this time. We need the reform. Councillors work very hard. They don't get the recognition. They don't get the funding. It's not possible for them to execute the work that they... And I tell you, I couldn't... You know what I used to have to do? I served as a mayor in opposition. And when work was being done by central government, I used to go and stand up there like if I get the work done. This time I ain't getting the work done, you know. But I go in there to show the people because I have an interest in it. I want the people to know that I could change a street light, I could fix a pothole, we could fix a water leak, we could get the garbage moving. But now with this reform, and let me tell you something, I have a history about this reform before me. I don't want Mrs. Zama to come and give me a note, but I have to tell you, this reform started long time ago, since in the 1500s. And I want to pay special tribute to, you remember Ken Valley? Well, for you all who didn't know who was Ken Valley, he was a member of parliament, he was a minister in this government, he was a hard-working man, and we must recognize all the people who have gone before and who have served this party. It started off with him and it went on to other ministers. It came down to the late Franklin Khan, who have passed away. You remember Franklin Khan? Right. He had 15 public consultations throughout the country and everybody wanted local government reform. We had Hazel Manning, the wife of the late Patrick Manning. May his soul rest in peace. And then I came in and I did my part, spent 6 years and did what I have to do. And the baton has been passed to the Honorable Faris Alwari, who is dealing with the legislative matters concerning this. Local government impacts every aspect of our lives. From the time we step out of our homes, to communicate to our workplace, even the way we die, because we must go to the cemetery. You see the state of the cemetery in this country? The grass tall. It's bureaucracy to get the grass cut. The corporation, you have to depend on the corporation. They cut when the fields are cut. You all know, some of you all are corporation workers here. You all know what we have to go through. As we know, local government reform has been on the agenda for decades. In the 1500s, the earliest attempt at local government was the establishment of the Cabildo system, which we brought into St. Joseph. Now I am calling these dates so you all will know when you go to campaign, you have these facts. In 1967, we had the Sydenham Committee, which had County Councils Act. In 1974, we had the Hugh Wooden Constitution, which led to the division of St. George County into St. George East and West in 1980. In the 1980s, the enactment of the TAJ Act. In 1990, the enactment of the Municipal Act of 1990, which had 2 cities, 3 boroughs, and the expansion and rules of the functions of local government. In 1992, the government undertook amendments to the Municipal Corporation Act to the number of regions from 9 to 14 municipalities. In 2004 to 2010, we had the employment of chief officers in the corporation, the establishment of local areas, regional planning. In December 2015 to 2016, that is when we came into office, 14 public consultations were held across the country, and a total of 3,675 persons were in attendance. On May 24, 2019, the Miscellaneous Provisions Local Government Reform Bill was introduced to the Parliament. The bill seeks to amend 9 pieces of legislation and 11 clauses. On March 31st, 2021, the second interim report on the Joint Select Committee on Local Government Reform was presented to the Parliament. And this Joint Select Committee had both government and opposition members. July 5th, 2021, by virtue of the Senate order paper, the report of the Joint Select Committee was laid. July 9, 2021, a motion in the House of Representatives proposed the House adopt the report on the Joint Select Committee. On June 1st, 2022, assent of the bill by the President, Act 11 of 2022. So these are the facts, these are the years, and this is where the PNM have been advocating for local government reform. And ladies and gentlemen, under this Prime Minister, under the People's National Movement, under this government, local government will come to pass. In closing, we have 10 pillars. Security of funding, which is 1, property tax, will allow the corporations to collect residential land property tax to retain taxes to help the corporation in their financial restrictions. I remember growing up as a child, my mother used to, you know, the mothers is the backbone in the family, right? My mother will take me in a taxi. I used to live on Coffee Street. We will go in a taxi and take a taxi down to the City Hall, where we will pay these land and building taxes. My father used to put aside $1, $5, $20 in our jacket pocket. And you know, in the saving money a long time, that's how we used to save money. And we will take this money at the end of the month and go and pay our land and building taxes. And we will get a receipt and we will stick it up in the house on the wall. So we know we pay for that year. Executive authority is another one. Local government bodies in the 14 corporations will be given a level of autonomy similar to the Tobago House of Assembly. And you see how the Tobago House of Assembly is well organized. So we will get there. New responsibilities. Local government bodies will be responsible for school maintenance in your community. Each corporation have schools, not so? So you will be responsible for doing minor maintenance on these schools. We have also social welfare services, sporting programs, and agriculture and local tourism. Local contractors is another one, will come from your community. We won't have a contractor from one area coming into Siparia. No, the contractor will come from here. You will say who you want. So we don't want a contractor coming. I don't want to call an area as a PNM area and you get vexed with me. We don't want a contractor coming from another area like Toko or Mayaro doing work in Siparia. It must come from the people who live in this community. Another one is municipal policing. Well, I love this policing thing so much when I went into the ministry. The first thing I did with the mandate of my leader was to ensure he gave a commitment to 100 police officers in each corporation and 200 in the Port of Spain Corporation. And you know my leader and your leader, when he tells you something once, he don't have to talk to you again. You just have to get the job done. I got it done. We hired over 747 municipal police officers over that period. We have a few training right now, around 40-something, and then we will take on another 200, fulfilling the whole 1,200 police officers. And the Prime Minister said on Paris Promenade on Saturday night, they now talking about what they want to do, and we do it already. And we have a lot more. We could infrastructure works, disaster management, involvement of civil society, regional development plans, and much more. But I want to close by saying I want to remind you, the people of the borough of Siparia, that on August 14th, it is very important that we make the right choice. And what is the right choice? And what are we voting for? Let me show me a hand, your voting hands. No, I ain't seeing all, like some of you all voting some other party. Right, that's the voting hand. We're voting PNM. We're voting for reform. We're voting red. We're voting for the we're voting for the Balize. So live throughout this country, whether it's in Toko, whether it's in Diego Martin, Cedros, San Fernando, we're voting for the People's National Movement. And it's just not about talk. This is a serious election. Don't take anything for granted. Go out there, meet your people, meet the Burgesses, be genuine to them, shake their hands, look into their eyes, and be genuine, because people know when you fool them. And we in the PNM, we're not fake and we're not fooling nobody. So may Almighty God bless our political leader, the People's National Movement, all my colleagues, and all you hard-working people who you, in my view, are the most important people. You put up posters, you carry people to vote, you campaign, you do all the work on the ground to ensure that the candidates win the election. So you all deserve a round of applause. So in closing, once again, may Almighty God bless all of us with good health, with long life, and may He bless our great party and our hard-working Prime Minister who has been carrying this party since in opposition to this present day. So thank you very much, and I love you all.
We love you so, we take good care of you. Only the PNM understands. We love you so, we take good care of you.
Thank you very much to Haji Kazim Hussein, and ladies and gentlemen, just as he recognized Alderman Encinas and Alderman Neptune and Councillor Deviset and Ramdeo, I think we need to recognize him for the work he has done during his tenure and for bringing this to fruition. Permit me please to recognize, ladies and gentlemen, the Deputy Mayor of San Fernando, Dr. Ferry Hussein, and visiting from the not-so-far Mayaro Rio Claro Regional Corporation, Alderman Elitha Besso. Ladies and gentlemen, in the People's National Movement, we have some people who could flex all how, fit in any space, and execute with perfection. Foster Cummings is one such person. He joined the People's National Movement when he was a wee little lad many, many years ago, came up through the ranks of the National Youth League, served as the chairman of the Couva South constituency at the tender age of 19 years old. He has previously served as the party's youth officer male, the party's field officer, the party's elections officer, and he currently serves as our General Secretary. In 2020, the people of La Joqueta Talparo resoundingly elected him in the now very safe seat of La Joqueta Talparo as their Member of Parliament. He holds the portfolio of Minister of Youth Development and National Service. And here to speak to you, the people of Siparia and the people of Trinidad and Tobago, about the outstanding work that has been happening in his ministry, please welcome to the podium the Honorable Foster Cummings.
The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the strength of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? When the wicked, even my enemies and my foes, come upon me to eat up my flesh, they stumbled and fell. Though a host shall encamp against me, my heart shall not fear. Though war shall rise up against me, in this I will be confident. One thing I have desired of the Lord, that I will seek after, that I will dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, to behold the beauty of the Lord and to inquire in his temple. Political leader of the People's National Movement, the right man and the right choice, the Honorable Keith Christopher Rowley. Minister of Agriculture, Minister in the Office of the Attorney General, Senator Lizama, candidates, MP for Lebre and Minister of Labor, and all you beautiful PNM people here in Siparia tonight. Ms. Joan Yule Williams. Ladies and gentlemen, I heard a young man speaking earlier on tonight. I think his name is Gillan Lewis. Is that his name? Are you going to vote for him in Brighton Destiny tonight? I heard Kamaluddin Ghani. Are you going to support him for Siparia, West Faizabad? All over South Trinidad tonight, the UNC quaking in their boots because from San Francisco to Point Fortin is PNM, 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 PNM. Look at you very beautiful PNM people tonight. We are talking about the thing that matters the most. We are not distracted by the noise from the UNC. And I urge you, the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, don't be distracted by the noise. They want to instill fear in you and tell you about everything other than local government. Everything other than improving local government. I say to those members of the UNC who are fed up listening to the empty noise of Kamla Prasad Bisesa, come to the PNM. We will welcome you here. Because what we want is real development. What you want is a true leader. I wouldn't talk about... You want a strong leader. You want a powerful leader. You want a visionary leader. You want a leader who can lead Trinidad and Tobago in a way that all of us can be proud of. You want a leader with integrity. You want a leader with some class. And you want a leader with some brain. And that is Keith Christopher Rowley, Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley. Ladies and gentlemen of Trinidad and Tobago, ladies and gentlemen of Siparia, the PNM is making a significant move to improve our local government system. I mean, we all know the challenges. It was right here in Siparia. The very current chairman of the Siparia Regional Corporation said to all of us so we could hear, this system is just not working. Well, Mr. Chairman, we listen to you. And the PNM aims to do something about it. And therefore, a vote for the PNM would mean a vote for an improved local government arrangement. It would mean better roads, better drains, cleaner community, all of the things that you hope to have in your local community. This reform is going to put the power in the hands of your elected officials so that they can do their job. We have heard stories over and over of councils taking decisions and the public servants not carrying out the decisions, the tail wagging the dog. If you elect people into office, you want to make sure that they have the authority to execute the responsibilities that the legislation empowers them to so do. And that is what we are about to do, ladies and gentlemen. My friends in Siparia, I want to say a special thank you to the officers of the PNM in this community, the chairman of the constituencies and the party groups, the campaign coordinator, Indar Parasram, Christopher Ensinas, and all of the executive members for conducting what I have been told is a very disciplined, organized, and energetic campaign here in Siparia, Labre, and Point Fortin. Because you see, the PNM is a very disciplined organization. So we understand if we run a local government election campaign, that we must find some time to talk to the people about local government. And what are you hearing on the other side? It is just bacchanal, bacchanal, and bacchanal. We are about organization and discipline. We are confident that you will make the right decision to choose the PNM candidates, because it is only the PNM that has fielded 141 candidates throughout Trinidad. In spite of them claiming that they're a national party, well, we understand they don't ever contest elections in Tobago, but you mean in Trinidad, where you're big and you're bad, you cannot field 141 candidates? the only true political party, ladies and gentlemen, the only true national political party, the People's National Movement. This reform will mean more power to the people. It is only the PNM, and I must say, it is only the PNM led by Dr. Rowley on this occasion that believes in putting more power into the hands of the people. It was this leader that changed the delegate system in the PNM from delegate voting to one man, one vote. So if you hear him tonight championing giving the councillors in the local communities more power, then you understand the type and caliber of leader that we are dealing with in the PNM and in Trinidad and Tobago. But we had many speakers speaking about local government. I just want to spend 2 minutes telling you a bit about what the government is doing for you in this part of Trinidad and Tobago. Ladies and gentlemen, the government is committed to the development of our young people. They are the future of the nation. Look at this audience and look at young people out here tonight. We need to give them a round of applause. It is young people listening and heeding the call of the Prime Minister to take responsibility for the governance of Trinidad and Tobago. And they are coming out in their numbers. We are going to stand with you. I'll just share a few of the programs that we're doing in South Trinidad. In Los Bajos, we are about 90% completed with the refurbishment of the Los Bajos Youth Development Center, ladies and gentlemen, to offer skills training in a non-residential setting for all of the young people within that community. In St. Madeleine, we are almost completed with the expansion of the male transition home in St. Madeleine, bringing more facilities to you, the young people of Southern Trinidad. You know what the UNC did? They closed down the Palo Seco NESC Center and they closed down the Point Fortin NESC Center. For you young people looking for an opportunity for development, had to wait for the PNM to come back into office. And I'm pleased to tell you that we will be reopening both facilities for the benefit of the young people. In Palo Seco and in Point Fortin, you would have known that we announced earlier that we would be reopening all of the youth camps, now called Youth Apprenticeship and Development Centers. And you will be pleased to know that in Chatham, we are almost completed with the works. The refurbishment works, although there were some elements in the community that tried to deter us, we steadfast, and we are about 75% complete with the refurbishment of the Chatham Youth Camp, ladies and gentlemen, to offer residential training to our young people. It does not stop there. As you support this government in our trust to improve your circumstances in the local government arena, we must tell you what we are doing for you otherwise for your development, for the development of your young people, and for the development of your community. For those of you in this part of the country, you are very familiar with the Beach Camp Complex, a former Petrotrin facility. And when we restructured Petrotrin, the government took the decision then that we will repurpose that facility as a national service complex for the benefit of all the young people of Trinidad and Tobago. And the work is apace. I can further tell you that at that particular campus, you will have as well a model farm that will be treating with crops, different types of crops, and a master farmer on hand to train all those young people who would like to get into farming, because farming is now becoming the career of choice for young people in Trinidad and Tobago. We are making sure and take care of our food security arrangements. I couldn't come here tonight and not tell you that we have launched for the first project in Southern Trinidad of the Youth Agricultural Homestead Program which is a 2-year training program geared towards training our new 21st century farmers and giving them 2 acres of fertile land, giving them a home constructed by the government, and giving them a grant of $20,000 to start up their agricultural pursuits. It is starting right here in Chatham. We are developing the Chatham Dairy Farm. We'll be providing 175 lots in Chatham for the benefit of you, the people of South Trinidad. And we will also do a model farm in Chatham for your benefit, ladies and gentlemen. So that when you hear them talking, you could just turn off your radio or turn off your TV, or you could switch to the channel that carrying the meeting of the PNM and sharing the good news of the Development Trust for Trinidad and Tobago. But most importantly, this beautiful crowd here is very nice, and I'm sure we're shaking the place down here in South tonight. But you see, election day, that is the day that matters. That is the day when we, with your support, will place in the new borough of Siparia a PNM elected executive, a PNM elected mayor, and we will all be able to say with a very loud voice, great is the PNM, great is the PNM, great is the PNM, and we shall prevail.
I forgot to mention to you that Honorable Foster Cummings is a shepherd in the Baptist faith. Thank you very much, Minister Cummings. South Trinidad, Chatham Youth Camp, Youth Agricultural Homestead Program, model farms. Imagine if this is what central government is delivering to you. Imagine what a more localized, indigenous, local government will deliver for you. Local government reform is necessary, and it is only possible under the People's National Movement. And so, ladies and gentlemen, we have gotten to where the air is rare. Thick Village. It is my signal honor to introduce to you the people of the borough of Siparia, a visionary, a man of action, a disciplined, industrious, hard-working leader who reports to work 7 days a week. A leader who does not humiliate his country. A leader who does not humiliate the proud institution that is CARICOM. A leader who does not insult its member states, ladies and gentlemen. A leader who acts with integrity and in the best interest of his country. A patriotic leader who will not sell out Trinidad and Tobago and commit possible treason by repeatedly writing and complaining about this country to other countries and to international agencies, ladies and gentlemen. Siparia, I am pleased to present you with a true member of parliament, a true political leader, and I'm happy to show you what a real Prime Minister looks like. Please welcome Dr. the Honorable Keith Christopher Rowley.
Even though the road is long, no matter what now, I know I'm gonna make it. Yes, I'm gonna make it. Even though the road is long, no matter what now, I know I'm gonna make it. Yes, I'm gonna make it.
Remember the days of toting water, anytime that you have to pay. But when people pass and they see you, oh my Lord, used to feel that shame. Wondering if this lasts forever, wondering when you will
Thank you very much. The people of South Trinidad, Thick Village in Siparia. And of course, those of us who are visiting you here tonight. By the time I get to the microphone, everything has already been said. So I think what we need to just say now is, great is the PNM. And remember the date of the polling day, which is August 14th. But I see some bright eyes still tonight. Well past your bedtime, eh? So we'll take a little time to mention a few things to you before we conclude our proceedings. But I want to just acknowledge my colleagues on the head table, executive members in the audience, particularly Mrs. Joel Newell-Williams, who's always with us every time, everywhere. And you see, if I am to speak to you about the matters that are making the noise in the country, there are a lot of things we can talk about, because we have some friends in this campaign who they read the papers or they listen to the radio, and whatever is on the news, they get a campaign and they start to tune up that rah, 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 and somehow they stick the word in it, constitution, and that is their campaign. So tonight, as I've come here to you now, I could talk to you all night about procurement legislation, and how the government intend to undermine the Constitution. And for the fourth time, one of our national leaders go on a platform, have nothing to say, just tear up paper, whatever paper she getting on. Manifesto, draft bill going to Parliament. If you can't debate it, engage the issue, just tear it up. But not tonight, according to a particular politician, not tonight. You hear, I mentioned our pastor in San Fernando, that we are going to be fighting the criminal element with the help of the US authorities, the FBI, the ATF, and the DOJ. We'll be fighting, joining us in the fight against the supply and transport of firearms into our country. I could talk about that whole night, because that is a big issue in the local government election campaign for our friends. And of course, there's some echo chambers. As soon as one dog barks, all the potholes start to bark. So the Prime Minister mentioned vetted units in the police service. I hear people now saying, oh, that will destroy the police service. That will destroy the Constitution. We have so many vetted units already in the police service. So many. So to speak about one that's going to focus on the whole question of trafficking in firearms and persons and guns and ammunition, which are the big issues threatening our safety and our security, that is a local government election campaign. And of course, with the procurement matter, as soon as we heard the issue in public, and they heard that we had obtained some goods and services, rented some motor cars, bought some flowers, got some hotel rooms for our guests. Oh man, the country turned upside down because the procurement legislation has been destroyed by the government, and there's an error in the law. And the Minister of Finance has used the error of the law. The Minister of Finance used the error in the law. In other words, he followed the law. And he used the error in the law to hire some cars and to buy some food. So the whole country capsized, and that is the local government election campaign. But we understand that there are difficulties in the law. We've discovered face to face. If there is, we're going to fix it. So we summoned the Parliament to go and fix it, because every single day, somewhere in the government, or many areas in the government, you have to do procurement of some kind or the other. You have to get things every single day in the government. You can't wait until September, when the Parliament come back in September, to do that. Because in the intervening period, we have to breathe, we have to work. The country has to go on. Oh man, if they call back the parliament and not coming because that is the constitution, they're undermining the constitution, the parliament on recess. You all remember section 34? You remember that story where they go in the dead of night and proclaim the law, one clause in the law to allow the friends to escape the courthouse? And when you all rose up as you are here in your thousands tonight and marched to President House, what did Mrs. Kamala Prasad Bissessa do? She summoned the parliament back. Pressure, busting pipe, water, more than flour. She summoned the parliament to come and reverse the law. That didn't overthrow the country. It didn't undermine the constitution. But it's a shame heavier than load. And even as they're saying that, today on my phone, I see a notification where the head of the executive in Tobago has summoned the assembly to come out tomorrow morning for a special session. I have not heard a word yet from the UNC about the undermining of the THA on that. But all of us waiting to see what is this thing that caused the assembly tomorrow to be called out in special session for a statement to be made on the democracy of Tobago. We wait and we will see. So how come it is okay for the UNC government in Trinidad and Tobago to call out the parliament? It's okay for the chief secretary to call out the THA. But it's not okay for the PNM to call out the parliament to go and fix what she says is an error in a law that we need to use every day going forward. I ask you tonight to ignore the UNC. It is only idlers, and more idlers who could spend their time in such useless and wasteful days. Now I say tonight, I'm down here in Siparia tonight. It's a good place to put this call out. And I'm putting this call out to all our citizens in this deep southland of our nation. Stop wasting your time and obstructing the country's development. Come join the PNM. Come, let us build a nation together. As Merchant would have said to us in song, come my brother, come my sister, come, let us build a nation together. The fact that we are in different parts of the country, or we belong to different political parties, that is the system we use to organize our management. Elections are about choosing management, choosing leaders to manage your affairs. It is not about making enemies and talking foolishness on platform night after night. Every Sunday is some stupidness, is some lie. Every Monday is some press conference, is more lie. Come, let us build a nation together. I don't know what goes through the minds of people who are running the UNC. But I could tell you, they have taken a decision to lie to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. I am leading a government. I'm leading a political party. Nowhere in any of our dealings, not somebody making a suggestion, nothing in print, nothing in words, that we are having something called an inheritance tax. But in an election campaign, a local government reform election campaign, you call it that. The UNC come up with something called an inheritance tax. Just come up just so with this lie, you know. And we tell them from day one, you are telling a lie, stop it. If you want to discuss the nation's tax program, the nation's taxes, We could do that. That might be very opportune in local government, but 25% inheritance tax. Nowhere in Trinidad and Tobago is that part of any governance discussion or intention. You know, you tell them that every day. You tell them that Monday, Tuesday, they're paying and putting an advertisement in the newspaper, trying to incite you to go with them to fight inheritance tax. Well, that is worse than Don Quixote and Sancho Panza. Because Sancho Panza was the Don Quixote and was seeing mirages, and he was going to fight windmills, and he had his spear and his sword to fight. At least he thought there was a windmill to fight. What is the UNC fighting? Especially since they know it's them make up the same lie. What kind of people is that? You know it, you make up the lie. How you could be calling on people to fight the lie that you know is a lie? But that should tell you they will do anything and everything to stay far from local government in the local government election. They want you to make a political decision to cast your vote in a local government election on anything except local government. You know why? Because they took a position earlier in their tenure as opposition in this country, that as opposition, they will not support anything that the government comes with, in the hope that if they do that, the country will collapse. What kind of people is that? You want your own country to collapse so that you could get office? So they took a position, their official position is that they will not support anything that the government is doing, that the government brings, because they want the country to collapse. They left office leaving us two things. One, a period of economic decline and revenue reduction. That was one. The other one was serious, significant, violent crime surge in the country. So violent was the crime surge during their tenure, they declared a state of emergency to deal with it. Don't let them and the stupid talk now make you believe that all was hunky-dory, safe and sound when they was in office, you know. In fact, they were part of the criminal element, the white-collar one. So when we came into office, we made that. And we as a people, like other people around, have to deal with it, because that is what governments do. Governments are elected to deal with problems of today and the future. So they want to give you the impression that they somehow, their presence in government will put an end to criminal conduct. When they were in office, there was significant criminal misconduct. As a matter of fact, way back in Basdeo Pandy's tenure, they killed two people inside the Prime Minister compound. You remember that story? So what is this magic that they have that if they're in office, crime going to disappear? And of course, they don't want to deal with anything good. Up comes a pandemic. The whole world is fighting it. What did the UNC do during the pandemic? Did you ever hear them one day saying, Trinidad and Tobago, let's ban our belly, let's wash our hands, let's put on our masks? You ever hear that? During that pandemic that lasts almost 3 years, can anybody in this room point to one day, one occasion when our friends and colleagues and cousins in the UNC took the position to say, let us hold hands and fight this invisible killer? Instead, every Monday morning they're going to the courthouse, taking the doctors and the nurses and the government to the courthouse, lying to the court about things that were not happening. It got as far as the Privy Council, when the Privy Council eventually ruled that the government acted properly in the action it has taken to protect the people of Trinidad and Tobago. So I tell you this so you could know, it have two kind of people in Trinidad and Tobago. People who are for Trinidad and Tobago and people who are against Trinidad and Tobago. And you know who is who. We of the PNM right here in this very room, because we have now come to the point of dealing with local government. One of many things that we have dealt with, are dealing with, and will have to deal with. We allocate some time for local government now. By law, the Election and Boundaries Commission is involved. Even that they're attacking. And talk about lie. The head of the Election and Boundaries Commission is a woman whose surname is Coffee. We used to have a minister in our government called Maxi Coffee. You know, it have a Coffee, C-U-F-F-Y. I know that one, I'm my son-in-law of them. And they have a Coffee spelled F-F-I-E. Coffee in the PNM is one spelling. Coffee at the EBC is the other spelling. You know, Mrs. Kamla Prasad Bisesa was told on many occasions, after Wademark and his friends lied on the EBC head that she is Maxi's niece, and the PNM put she there to undermine the process and to do wrong things for the PNM. No, Olio, they're not related. It sounds the same, but one is a C-U-F-F-Y coffee, and the other is a C-U-F-F-I-E coffee, and they're not related. That was since Maxi was in the government to start that, eh? You know, a couple of weeks ago, Mrs. Kamla Prasad Bisesa, in her campaign against this institution of this country, wrote to the CARICOM Secretariat head office in Guyana, complaining that we put a government minister needs to run the Election and Boundaries Commission. And therefore she wants observers to come to observe the election because the government minister needs running the EBC, and therefore you will have election cheating. Signed, Kamla Prasad Bisesa. What kind of people are these? I would like to think I am proud of every Trinidadian and Tobagoan, but I can't say that because those who killing people for fun and for a living are not proud of you. And those who lying to our children, I'm not proud of you, but I have hundreds of thousands of you of all race, color, creed, and class, and in geographical locations in this country. I'm proud of you. Tonight, I am so pleased here in Siparia to look at this audience and to see in this audience so many young people making up the audience in political activity. And many of these young people, they've all come voluntarily. Many of them have come forward in this crowd tonight to offer themselves for service in local government. And that tells me that notwithstanding the nastiness, the worthlessness of the UNC, our country is in good hands. We can talk to you about local government because we have been in local government from the very beginning when Dr. Williams formed the PNM. One of the founding members of that party became the longest serving member of parliament in the Commonwealth. His name was Kamaluddin Mohammed. He came to the PNM from local government, bringing that experience of government at the base level. And he functioned in the PNM up to the highest level you can say. When I joined the party, the first lecture I got as a young PNM potential parliamentarian was from Kamaluddin Mohammed. And the country's record will never be raised. His contribution and the PNM's record will never be raised because that is history. And it's not only Kamal. I mean, today the Speaker of the House, Bridget Anisette George, many of you see her as speaker, you know she's a prominent legal luminary in the legal fraternity. She was a local government practitioner in the PNM. She came into public life in local government before she became speaker. I can mention in the cabinet today a number of persons who came to us via local government. Service, indeed, at the base level, where people are in touch with their government. Simon Dinobriga, Member of Parliament. Faris Al-Rawi, he came via local government too. Kazim Hussein, you just heard about Kazim Hussein, who followed in his father's footsteps in San Fernando, serving at local government. Penny Beckles in Arima, who is today in the cabinet as Minister of Planning and Development. Anthony Garcia in Arima, he was a lone PNM local government person, but so effective was he that the next time around, the PNM won the corporation, he won the seat and became the Minister of Education in this country. Local government generates that kind of understanding of our country and its institutions and its service stations. Rohan Sinanan, today Minister of Works. He was in local government. He was an alderman in Tunapuna Piako Corporation for the PNM. On the table here tonight, Kennedy Richards. He came out of local government. Today, he's a member of parliament for Point 14. He was here tonight. Party officer, hard-working stalwart, Indar Parashram, who just presented these candidates. He is local government. We had a funeral recently, a few days ago, where we lost one of our prominent stalwart, Rudal Lalman, local government practitioner. And if I speak about the stellar performance of our PNM people, I have to speak about Orville London, who was the record-breaking chairman of the Tobago House of Assembly as Chief Secretary, who became Chief Secretary and retired from that position undefeated. He started out as a councillor in the Tobago House of Assembly. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we can talk about local government because the PNM knows local government. And we are saying at this point in time to the country, after years of work, years of consultation, years of drafting documents, years of being in the parliament, we now have an election and say it is time to bring about local government reform. You heard somebody said a while ago that, well, you know, I just tell you about the stream of lies that come from the UNC. So I'm not surprised that one of the lies is that the leader of the PNM is a dictator. The letter that she writes to people all around the world to last up the country to him. I'm being accused of being a dictator. I just came from this afternoon. I spent the afternoon with Darren Marcel on 95.5. Darren Marcel is from local government. He was a local government practitioner. And he introduced a conversation with me this afternoon saying, well, you have called the election for August 14th. I have to remind him, dictators don't call elections. Dictators don't call elections. Dictators do what the UNC leaders are doing, fall in love with office and can't leave it. Understand? But my colleagues will tell you from day one, since they met me, I always tell them, enjoy your period of service, but don't fall in love with office. So, these are people that we have who, some of them actually took part in the process that got us here. Many of you in this audience, I'm seeing faces that I know served some time. Pump here from Labrie. Years in local government. We have our ladies at the back there, some of them returning incumbents, still leading the youngsters who are coming in for the first time. You heard one of our youngsters tonight. He's on his way into local government. Quality person, quality representation being promised there. But even the chairman of the Siparia Corporation, who is a UNC chairman of that corporation which has gone out to be replaced by the borough, you would have seen them on videos talking about how the local government system as it exists is not delivering and not functioning as we anticipate that they could. Anybody who lives anywhere in this country can tell you about the non-functioning and the tales of woe and the disappointment, how some things could easily have been fixed if certain things were in place. We all have our stories. I am a member of parliament in Diego Martin West. I have a corporation there which is now a borough. I know what it is to receive from people complaints about what should be done on their street, in their neighborhood, at their doorstep. but can't get those complaints dealt with because something called the system doesn't deliver it. The system doesn't allow that. The system doesn't allow this. That is a phrase that everybody in this country knows. The system doesn't allow certain things to happen. What we are saying here now in local government reform, let us change the system. So we are going to change the system for the better. And we didn't just wake up and say so. They are invoking the Prime Minister's comments about vetting police officers as an election campaign. They're invoking the procurement of the legislation, the proclamation of the procurement legislation as the election campaign. They're invoking the calling of Parliament as the election campaign. We don't have to do any of that. We are campaigning on local government reform because we have done the work in preparation of the nation moving towards the changes that should be made to change the system. So all we are doing now is saying to the population, the time has come to effect it. We talked about it. We worked with it. We wrote about it. We discussed it. On August 14th, let us join hands and build a nation together on a foundation of local government. That's what it is. But they want things to talk about election campaign, writing people around the world about the Prime Minister being a dictator. Me, dictator. You know who's a dictator? When a minister in your government talk to the police and tell the police the truth, and it results in whatever other ministers being charged, and you fire the minister who tell the truth, you are a dictator. That's a dictator. In the PNM, you just heard tonight that one of the things that I can be credited for is dismantling the delegate system, where about 800 people across the country had the authority to vote to choose the PNM leader. We spent 2 years consulting on that in our party. We had ideas as to how it should be done, but we gave the party members an involvement in the process. And then we went to a special convention and voted to eliminate the delegate system. You don't have anybody voting for you. Come and vote for yourself. One man, one vote. Today that is standard in the PNM. Others trying to copy it now and they can't. One man, one vote. That is now the basis on which we elect our party national executive. But at the time when we raised it, there were some persons who were a little queasy about it. There were one or two voices that opposed it up front. But as we discussed it and we explained it on the day of that convention, there were only, I think, 2 votes against it. It was almost unanimously carried. When I came into this office, an elected political leader came into office for 5 years. Again, by consultation and collaboration with the party, led by your humble servant, I got the party to agree to reduce the term of the political leader from 5 years to 4 years and presented myself for re-election on other occasions. The political leader had a total control of the screening committee in our party and had a screening committee to assist the political leader under my leadership. We changed that and gave the screening committee members a vote in their own right. In the PNM, screening committee members no longer vote to assist the political leader. They vote in their own right, yea or nay, to select PNM candidates. So every one of these candidates you see here, they were selected by the clearance and approval of the screening committee of the PNM, voting members on the committee voting in their own right. So they're well screened, they're well selected, and they have the authority of the party to go forward. These are the kind of changes you make. But of course, if that is so, if what I just told you is true, and it is true, Why aren't you not surprised that the UNC will be calling me a dictator? Because they like to lie. They like to lie. Like they enjoy it. Plain and simple so. Sometimes the proof is right there in front of them, so the lie can't last too long, and they still would lie. So you, the PNM, you don't have to listen to that. And I'm also saying to UNC members and supporters, don't listen to that. That could only lead you astray and obstruct the nation's development. Come with us. Come with the PNM. Come, let us build our nation together. It is only in the PNM that you will see prominent people from other political parties functioning in the country's business. Because we don't choose people on how loyal they are to the leader as the only criterion. We choose you if you are citizens subscribing to the very principles that the PNM subscribe to. Because it's not only the PNM that subscribe to those principles, you know. There are other people who don't belong to any political party who they too subscribe to those principles. And if they subscribe to those principles of nation building, then you're welcome to work with and in the PNM for the nation of Trinidad and Tobago. That's what we have to do. And this is the time now to make a decision. We have to make it so that we can move forward and do tomorrow what we weren't doing yesterday. Do better. Tonight, you heard the Agriculture Minister speak here for a moment. We can spend the whole night here talking about agriculture and what the government is doing for agriculture in this country now to put us in a better position tomorrow for agricultural production. This week, we were out visiting our forestry, furniture, woodworking business in the Deep South. And a few days before, he was receiving 200,000 pounds of rice seeds to kickstart and regenerate rice production in Trinidad. And I'm warning you all, when the rice is produced, please eat it. Grow what you eat what you grow. Don't leave the Trinidad rice that is grown here and come and tell me you don't have foreign exchange to buy Louisiana parboiled rice. Grow what you eat what you grow. So we are on there. Minister Cummings, who is heading a brand new ministry of youth development and national service, he gave you a little vignette there about what is happening with respect to preparation for young people, giving them opportunities in those same youth camps that our friends on the other side shut down. They found that the country had done enough for young people, so we could afford to shut down the youth camps. If you talk to them, they might come and tell you, well, we didn't have enough money to keep the youth camps going. That is where you're going to get vexed. You didn't have enough money to keep the youth camps going. So you shut down El Dorado Girls Camp. You shut down Chagaramas Youth Camp. You shut down Chatham. You shut down Presto Presto. But Mamu could get $1 billion to run away with. On one contract. One contract. One man get $1 billion contract. Election night, he gone. Never come back. Huh? One minister could approve a purchase of a piece of land that was valued by one valuer at no more than 39 million. Another valuer valued it at 50 million. A minister in that government approved the purchase at 180 million. But you didn't have any money to keep the youth camps open. So young people, you know who was spending this country money on you and for you, and you know who was thieving it. Understand? The last day that they were in office as government, thank God, they removed the clause from a contract on the road to Point 14 that allows the contractor to go away with $921 million in bonds. So when you hear the UNC talking about vote for them because them had a good time, they had a good time, you had a hell of a time. They had a good time. They who did that had a good time. Because no contractor could have changed that bond himself. It had to be elements of the government to change it. And now they're behaving as though these things that I'm telling you here didn't exist. Don't talk about that. Don't talk about that. We have to talk about that, because if you don't talk about it, you would have forgotten it, and you might go and vote for them to put them back into government. We're talking about a local government election, and it doesn't matter what the result is on August 14th, that can't put them back into government. Tell them stop wasting time. What it will do is to determine who will go into local government, who will cooperate with the government, and bring about local government reform. Siparia Borough was voted for by the executive in the Siparia Corporation. They're trying their best to pretend as though the government has not heard it and the government has not passed the law to allow Siparia to be the borough. People of Siparia and Faizabad, in the Faizabad borough, you are now without let, hindrance, or discord. You are the borough of Siparia. And so is the borough of Diego Martin. And maybe one of these days, not too far from now, there'll be the city of Chaguanas. I don't know. But that is the evolutionary trend of local government. But they're not participating in that. They don't want no part of that. And they want to tell you that you can only have good governance and you can only have progress in this country while they're in office. I tell you, it is the opposite. There is what magic, you know. They go to Tobago with the same Mamu contractor and build a house for Ashwat Jack out of pumpkin and cucumber, you know. One hell of a mansion built out of cucumber and pumpkin sales. That is their record, you know. That is what it's all about. Huh? If we didn't get back that $921 million, that road to Point 14, which very soon would be completed, and you will drive on a proper highway from Port of Spain to Point 14, the man gone with $921 million of your money. And the people who do that still are wrong. And why are you surprised? One of them in the parliament right now, this minute, on $1 million bail. But he is the opposition chief whip. They do not qualify to talk to the PNM or to talk to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. They are a bunch of... And somehow believe that if they make enough noise and lies, misrepresentation, feigned anger, that you will somehow see them as your savior. They are not your savior. They are an obstruction to good order in Trinidad and Tobago. And they have a habit always writing letter to foreign countries to nasty up the country name. Tell them they must be told to stop doing that. When we went to buy Coast Guard vessels, when this migration started from Venezuela and the criminals were coming to us with drugs and guns, Patrick Manning went through a perfectly transparent process and awarded the contract. His government awarded the contract to Vosper Thornycroft in England, a British shipbuilding company. You know what they did? Without a shred of evidence and not caring about this country's international image, accusing the Prime Minister then of corruption, wrote the Serious Crime Office in England, pretending to be complaining about corruption in the Patrick Manning government on the Vosper Thornycroft contract. Not a shred of evidence, you know. Just make the allegation, nasty up the country name and nasty up the Prime Minister name. That was since Patrick Manning days. And you think that changed? When I went to Australia, at the invitation of the Australian government on an official visit, and used the contact between Trinidad and Tobago and its big sister in the Commonwealth to get help from Australia to solve our inter-island ferry service. We got two of the world's best ferries with the Australian government help. You know what they did? The same way they wrote the British Serious Crime Office to try to nasty up Manning name and Manning government name without a shred of evidence. They wrote the Australian opposition and lied that arrangement of the vessels had corruption. The Australian opposition ignored them. You think they will stop? They then wrote the Australian Attorney General and told him that. And he said to them the simplest thing: if you have evidence of corruption, take it to the Australian police. They had nothing to take, they had nothing to do, because all they were doing was lying on the country and on the country's officers who had worked for the people of Trinidad and Tobago. That is UNC style. So when you vote for the PNM, you vote for a body of people who believe that there's decency left in public life and public service is honorable. And if perchance you stay home and don't vote, that is as good as voting for the UNC. And as good as saying I'm not interested in local government reform. And I suspect that those of you who will stay home and say that, you will be the first in line to complain about local government not functioning and the system ain't working. The time to do something about it is on election day. And we will be so much stronger as a people. We will be so much more confident in making the change and the evolution of local government if you come out in your numbers and let us get a good poll in support of local government reform. Local government reform is pegged on the fact that we will bring about more improved and expansive management, and it will evolve to take on more and more responsibility, right down to the point where affecting it of approvals. How many times you see something happening in your district where somebody get a VAPS and they want to build something and they're building it in the worst and most dangerous place, either blocking the water course, bringing down a landslide, building in the water course, all those things happening. If you have proper, effective local government with authority to intervene, you could stop some of that nonsense. But you have to have officers of quality, professional officers of integrity, training, and who are properly paid, who will do that. Both will encourage the community, identify where the problems are, and if enforcement is required, then you have enforcement. That is what protects you from those things. There are certain regulations to be followed. One of the problems in our country is that we have 1 million laws and only observing 2. There are some parts of America, you go there, you come back here, oh, the place nice, I had a wonderful vacation. You want to prune a tree in your yard, you're required to get permission, but you get a response the very day you ask for permission. Not 2 years later. My cousin remodeling a house, stand back and look at it and say, nice house. It will look a bit better with a nice gallery. So she told the builder, add a little portico in front of the door here for me, man. And he went and did that. And they came to give the final certification and very quietly said, where's your permission for that addition that you put on there? I don't have any, but it's nice, eh? They say, yo, it's very nice. You'll find $15,000. Apply for the permission. But if that is the case, when you apply, there must be a response. And the system will then work. But for there to be a response, you have to have staff that is present and willing to work. That is where we go in. There will be new employment. We have a whole lot of young professional people trained in the university, not properly employed. Local government will provide the opportunity for a lot of good jobs. But all of it will be anchored on a platform of an honest day's work for an honest day's pay. I don't know what else to tell you all, except that this is an opportunity for us as a people to make some significant intervention to continue to improve the quality of our lives. Nobody's going to come and do it for us. We have to do it ourselves. We have walked the journey of preparation. We are almost at the station of completion, but we require your help. We require your approval. We require your engagement. So people of Trinidad, engage the issue of local government reform. Take a side. You are either for it, in which case you support it, or you're against it, or you don't care. Those are the three categories of people. And we are saying, let the majority be for it, and you will have it, and we move on and build a nation together. And as we go forward building this nation, as we did from 1956, 1962, 1976, way stations along the way where we make changes and approvals, we keep making changes to get bigger and stronger and more confident as a nation. And that is always done when the PNM leads you in the right direction. And that direction allows you at the end of the day, as you join us in this nation building exercise, you join us also in saying, great is the PNM, great is the PNM, great is the PNM, and we shall prevail.
And Tobago, Siparia, I want you to answer our Prime Minister's clarion call to build our nation of Trinidad and Tobago together. And so I implore you on August the 14th to go out in your numbers and cast your votes resoundingly for the People's National Movement. Ladies and gentlemen, on Thursday, the PNM's caravan rolls into Chaguanas, and we invite you to join us there. From 7 p.m. at the PNM's regional office, corner Chrissy Terrace and Southern Main Road. Siparia, you have been wonderful. We look forward to seeing you along the campaign trail. Get home safely. Great is the PNM.
It's a spiritual feeling, but I catching the power. Tripping on the road, but I catching the power. On the ground and I catching the power. When the music hit me, I catching the power. Even though.
The preceding program was a paid political broadcast.
This is TTT. Live for local.
Greetings and welcome to In Depth. I'm DK Roster. It is the final countdown to the Trade and Investment Convention 2023. Lead coordinator of TIC, Shana Marie Israel, and head of commercial Blue Waters Products Limited, Avinash Lalu. They join us to take that final informed incentive as to why you